going to do our values today. First thing I'm going to have you do is write your name on it. Okay. We are going to take our paper, we're going to fold it in half. A hamburger. Doesn't matter if it's perfect or not. We're going to fold it in half again like a hamburger. And then we're going to do that one more time. Okay, open it up. Okay, so the side that has my name on it, I want that on the back, so I'm going to flip it over. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use our black paint. We're going to paint it down here in this right corner. I'm not putting a ton of paint on there. You don't need a ton. So you do want to try to smooth it out a little bit. If you see big globs, try to smooth those out. Otherwise they'll take a long time to dry. And you might be able to see them when we use these for the project. This yellow paper is under here so that you can go off the edges if you need to. So we are making values. So black is the darkest of the values that we have. We're going to have white in this corner, but we're going to leave that one blank. So we're not actually going to paint it. We are going to start making values though. So we want to have a good variation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of paint. Actually, I'm going to do this a little different. I'm going to take a little bit of the black, I think. I'm going to put a little black in there. And I'm trying to make a dark gray value. So I am going to take a little bit of white. And I'm going to add it to my black. Now I need to make sure I make enough to cover the whole square. If you are working with a partner, make sure that you have enough for the two of you or however many there are that are at the table. So I'm gonna add a little bit more. So I'm looking to make a dark gray. Still pretty dark. A little lighter. So I just keep adding white to it. Notice when I started with this, I didn't have a ton of black in there. Black is very overpowering, so you use it pretty sparingly. That's a pretty nice dark gray, but it's still very close to that. So I'm gonna keep going, we'll keep adding some white. Let's try that. That looks pretty good. Trying to get a bunch of the blobs off of my brush so I can smooth them in. All right, so I'm going to continue to make some light gray or dark grays, but I want it to get lighter every time. So I can continue using this cup and I can keep adding white to it and mix it, and you'll see it starts to get lighter. Try that. So you should be able to see a variety of color or value. Still a pretty dark gray. All right, so I could keep adding white to this, and we'll just see what happens here. Now I'm trying to make some real basic middle tone gray. Okay, this might be quite a bit lighter. Okay, that looks looks like a nice middle gray. If I were to keep adding white to this, you see there's a lot of gray in here, it would take a lot of white to lighten it at this point. So what I'm gonna do then is I'm gonna go back to my container where I had white originally, right? There's a little bit of black in there, but it doesn't matter. And I'm gonna take a little bit of this gray and start adding it to the white. Okay, now is that a big jump from that gray? A little bit, so I'm gonna add a little more. Maybe just a smidgen. Okay, so I'm gonna put that over here. The goal is really just to have a variation of value. Okay, now I'm going to try to make this lighter again. I can pour white in here, or I could have another cup, start with white, add a little bit of gray to it, either way. Like that. Not bad. Is that too close still? It's pretty close. If I needed to, I could add more white to it. And again, I'm rushing to try to beat the bell. The bell's gonna ring here in a second, but I would probably try to do a nice job painting, trying to get those lines out of there if I can. But again, I'm on a time crunch. But I wanted to demonstrate how you can create these values. I could let it dry, come back over it again if it's still really textured in lines, but for the project, it might not even make a difference. So as long as you get some good value, that's really the important part. Okay, now because again, there's a lot of paint in here, I think I'm gonna take another cup. I'm gonna start with some white, and I'm just gonna add a smidgen. It's just a little tiny bit to create a really nice light gray. You look at it, it might even look white. I'm not too worried about that spot. When we get to talking about the project, you'll realize that these pieces aren't going to stay. Get that black out of there. These pieces aren't going to stay one solid piece anyway, so we're going to be tearing or ripping them apart into different pieces. So if there's some texture or lines in there, it's not a huge deal. And that's quite a bit different. I might add just a little bit. darken it up just a little. Oh, that might be too much. We'll see. All right. When you are finished, you can put your brushes in your water container. You could probably toss this unless you have a lot of it. I set it on the counter and I can use it for people who were gone. This will go in the drying rack, and then this manila paper will just get tossed. If you got anything on the table, we will wash the table. And that is it for this lesson.